Do you remember how slow the Greater Toronto Area real estate market was in April of 2020, just a mere month into the global pandemic? Well, believe it or not, April 2024 was even slower. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Rob Marsiglio, sales representative with Keller Williams Referred Urban Realty, out here in Durham region, serving the great people of this part of the province, doing my best to bring you weekly content on this channel, covering all things Greater Toronto Area real estate. If you enjoy deep dives into the stats and the numbers on a weekly basis, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the content going forward. In this week's video, we're going to touch on just how slow April 2024 ended up being, with a special shout out to the Toronto condo market. I'm going to cover some interesting numbers, a record that inventory should set this week. Stick with me right to the end of the video to see what exactly I am talking about. Kick things off once again with this tweet. Sneaky Rob, I did hide this part off the top relative to new listings. April 2024 was slower than April of 2020 relative to new listings. Let me show you. I've done this chart in the last couple of videos, just showing you exactly what our sales as a percentage of new listings has been through April. April is now complete. You can see April 2020, it was about a 50% SNLR, sales to new listings ratio on the freehold side, and about 42% on the condo side. We're down to just over 44.5% on the freehold side in 2024, and 38.4% to be exact, on the condo side. As a bit of a refresher, that 38.4% that we're seeing on the condo side puts us below the 40% threshold that would kind of classify this market as a buyer's market. Again, all things considered, and let's say affordability was under normal conditions, it would be considered a buyer's market. Right now, it's just more of a frozen market. Like, transactions aren't happening relative to new listings. And again, the freehold market is quickly creeping up on that 40% threshold as well. So worse than 2020 in terms of the sales related to new listings. And then taking a look at things from an absolute sales reported perspective, condos, if we threw out 2020, it's the second slowest April that we've seen next to 2009. And on the freehold side, it is the slowest, the lowest number of freehold sales that we've seen going back to at least 2008. Now, the absolute sales totals for April 2024 were not that much less than we saw in April 2023. The huge differences in the new listings, and that's really what drove sales as a percentage of new listings down. Here's a chart I put together using MarketWatch data. This 17,005 new listings is what we saw in April of 2024. That's not the MarketWatch number. That's kind of what I have gleaned using the MLS. The spread has really exploded between where we were in 2023 with just shy of 11,400 new listings in April, whereas this year we were kind of back up to the kind of the average and the median monthly new listings totals from 2008 to 2023. We're kind of right back up in that range. On the sales side, however, this orange line is 2024. You could see we got off to a relative bang, more sales in January and February than we saw in 2023. But the flip script in March, we saw less sales in 2024, and that trend continued through April. And now to picture that sales as a percentage of new listings in a different way, you see that we're used to hovering just below the 60% mark, high 50s through this time of year, really throughout the entire year until things tighten up a little bit in August, loosen up in September, then really tighten up through the rest of the year thanks to the lack of new listings. Last year at this time, the sales as a percentage of new listings based on TREB MarketWatch numbers was close to 66%. So that's kind of firmly up in seller's territory. Anything over 60% from this metric is technically a seller's market. This April, however, after a slight uptick from February to March, we saw things fall right off to 42.1% on the whole when you take freehold and condo properties right across the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. Last year, we were above the trend line until we weren't. And this year, we have kind of been living below that trend line and dipping lower. I want to show you what happened last year when things started to dip lower. As soon as the Bank of Canada hiked 2 more times, we saw the sales as a percentage of new listings fall right off. We officially hit, again, quote unquote, buyer's market territory in July before bouncing back a little bit in August. Then we were in a technical buyer's market in September, October, and, call it a buyer's market in November last year as well. And as we touched on last week, we're not seeing that excitement in the market from the rate holds that we are still currently experiencing. I think people are looking more towards rate cuts, waiting for rate cuts to jump back into the market. Again, I don't think this number will uptick meaningfully, even with just a few rate cuts. It's going to take something a lot more to really improve affordability, get this number back to that kind of balanced market territory, right around 50% sales as a percentage of new listings, something that I think is very healthy for a market. Just not seeing that happening anytime soon. So that's my recap on the slow April. Word of warning, we probably will see median and average sale prices tick up. We'll wait for the Treb Market Watch reports to come out to confirm exactly that. I don't think we should read too much into that though. The median and the average sale price are really, driven a lot by property mix. We already know that not a lot of condos are selling, so that's not going to be dragging the median and average price points down like we'd be used to seeing. It's more freehold properties selling, which will drag those prices up. We're seeing more bigger homes sell of the homes that are selling in the spring market. That's going to bring those prices up as well. So again, don't read too much into this sales prices that will be reported come the April market watch. Just because the median and average on the aggregate is going up does not mean that an apples to apples comparison shows that same increase. House A did not increase by X% from one month to the next, just based on what the market watch report is going to put out. Now, to wrap things up in this video, I want to get into some Toronto condo talk because something exciting or not so exciting may happen in that market this week. Now, I teased this on Twitter or X earlier in the week before I released my Monday months of inventory update that I do every single Monday over on X. So follow me over there before I look at what is happening with months of inventory in the Greater Toronto Area. I hazarded a guess that at some point this week, Toronto resale condo inventory will surpass the peak we saw in October of 23. And I listed how far off the peak by percentage each market was. So you can see Toronto condos as of this past Monday, April 29th, was just 1.3% off the peak inventory that we saw in October of 2023. Here it is in graph form. So at a peak, we had 5,797 active listings. As of Monday, we were at 5,721. Now on April 30th, which was this past Tuesday, Toronto condos hit 5,780 some odd active listings at any given time. We were within like 10 active listings of getting through that peak. But as we know, at the start of each month, expiries, terminations hit the market. The active inventory number did fall off slightly. I can report that it was up at around 5,735 active listings at the time of recording this episode. So I'm still going to hold on to my prediction that by this Friday, tune into X and Twitter this week, because I will be making a post about it when it does happen. But I think we will pass that inventory peak in the Toronto resale condo market. Now, all that talk about inventory had me thinking, how is the rental market comparing to what we've seen on the resale side? So since the beginning of the year, this is the resale market and condo inventory. You can see that we're up, just over 2,000 active listings from January 1st to that reading that I took on April 29th. Now from April 1st to that reading on April 29th, we're up about 1,000 active listings that we've added in just the 1 month of April. On the resale side, we're up about 500 active rental listings from January 1st to April 29th. And we're actually down about 200 active rental listings in the Toronto condo market from the beginning of April to the end of April, that last reading that I took. But the path that we've taken to get from point A to point B has been very different on the resale and the rental side. So you can see that from January 1st to April 30th, 2024, this is per Toronto MLS, we've had just over 23,000 new rental listings and just under 15,000 leases reported in that time, which gives us a kind of leased to new listings ratio of 63%. On the resale side, about half the number of listings, 13,500 new listings, and just 5,000 sales reported in that time, which again puts us at that 38.06% for sales as a percentage of new listings. In April, those trends were actually exacerbated a lot. We saw on the rental side, 6,200 roughly listings and 4,700 sales or leases reported. That's a lease to new listings ratio of 75%, a super active rental market in April. On the resale side of things, it slowed down even more compared to what we've seen for the year-to-date averages. Just shy of 4,500 new listings, just over 1,500 sales reported. That puts us down at 34.37% sales as a percentage of new listings, firmly in that technical buyer's market territory. And a lot of that just has to do with affordability. This is the most recent RBC Housing Affordability Measures Canada. So this is a broad Canadian-based report that RBC does put out. It's not quite the worst that we've seen for condo apartment affordability. That did happen back in the early 90s, but for recent history, affordability is just getting worse on the condo side of things. And if you can rent a condo for kind of less to or equal to just the interest portion of your mortgage payments, and you don't have to worry about maintenance fees, property taxes, it's just a bit of a no-brainer, especially for young professionals or younger people who are generally the ones buying condos downtown, condos in Toronto. That's kind of that market. So it just makes way more sense right now for people to be renting from a monthly budget perspective than it does to be buying these condos. All right, I hope you enjoyed the content of that video. Like I said, if you do enjoy the deep dive into the Greater Toronto Area real estate market stats, this is something that I'm passionate about doing on a weekly basis. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these updates that I put out going forward. Thanks so much for sticking with me right through to the end of another video. Till we speak again next time, please stay safe and cheers.